The alien father stood in the war council chamber, his tall frame covered in the dark armor of his people, his eyes burned with sorrow, and his hands clenched as the council leader gave the order. He was to travel to Earth, find the human leader, and kill him. The fate of his people, they said, depended on it. The father nodded, but inside his chest, his heart felt heavy. He had once been known as a warrior without fear, a soldier who never questioned orders, but those days had changed. When his only son was taken during the last invasion, he had searched every battlefield, every prison camp. But his boy had never been found. The pain of that loss haunted him every night. Now they sent him on this mission. They called it an honor. They said he would save his people from destruction. Yet in his soul, he wondered, was killing this human leader truly the answer, or was it only more blood upon his hands? He prepared for the journey in silence. His ship was small and silent, built for stealth. He carried weapons that could kill at a single strike. Yet, when he looked at them, he saw the reflection of his son's face. He wondered what kind of world his child would have grown in if the war had never happened as his ship cut through the stars. He thought of the human leader. The council had painted the man as a monster, ruthless and cruel. They said he was the reason the galaxy was at war. But deep inside, the alien father doubted. He had seen enough of war to know that monsters did not always wear the face of the enemy. Sometimes the true monsters were the ones who gave orders from behind closed doors. The closer he came to Earth, the more his mind fought with itself. One voice told him to be loyal, to follow orders, to bring back victory. The other whispered of his son, of mercy, of a chance to break the endless chain of killing when his ship reached the human world. He landed in secret. The night sky covered his arrival. The forests were quiet, the wind carrying the sound of leaves and rivers. He moved like a shadow, his tall frame hidden among the trees. His mission was simple: find the human leader. Strike. Without hesitation and return. But the alien father could not stop his thoughts. He imagined the human leader sleeping, unaware of the blade that would soon be raised. He imagined the man's family, his people, his soldiers who trusted him. And then he thought of his son again, his little voice, his little hands reaching out for him. Every step closer to his target felt heavier. The shadows of the trees seemed to whisper, asking him if he truly believed in what he was about to do. His heart pounded, his breath slowed. The silence of the night pressed against him, reminding him that this path was not only a mission, but also a choice. He reached the outer defenses of the human stronghold. From his hidden place, he could see soldiers standing guard, strong, disciplined, loyal. They did not look like monsters. They looked like fathers, brothers, and sons, just like his own people. For a moment, the alien father felt trapped between two worlds. Behind him stood the voices of his people, demanding blood and victory. Ahead of him stood the humans, protecting their home, and inside him, his son's memory called for something else, something greater. The night stretched long, and the father did not move. He watched, he listened, he waited. His mission was to kill, but his heart told him to see. He wanted to know if the human leader was truly the monster he had been told, or if he was something more, someone who carried the same burden of family and loss. The father whispered into the wind, a vow only he could hear. If I must kill, let it be for truth, not lies. His voice trembled because even as he spoke, he felt that truth might not be what his people wanted at the edge of the stronghold. He saw lights flicker in a hall. Soldiers moved with respect. Their eyes followed one figure walking among them. That was him, the human leader. Tall, commanding, yet not cruel. His presence was not of a monster, but of a man carrying weight too heavy for one soul. The alien father's hand moved to his weapon. His fingers curled around it. The moment was here. He could end the war with one strike, fulfill his mission, and return to his people as a hero, But his heart stopped him for the first time in his life. He felt the shadow of doubt stronger than the shadow of duty. He saw not an enemy, but a leader, a father to his people. The mission of shadows had led him here, but it was no longer clear if he was the shadow war, the one who had to step into the light, and so he waited, his weapon heavy, his soul heavier. The night was silent, but inside him a storm was beginning. The mission was simple. Yet nothing about it felt simple anymore. The alien father stayed hidden in the darkness, his sharp eyes following every step of the human leader. The man walked with confidence, his soldiers surrounding him with trust and loyalty. He carried no weapon in his hands, but his presence was enough to command everyone near him. The father tightened his grip on his blade. He could end everything now. The council's voice echoed in his head. Strike. Bring us victory. Save our people. But another voice, softer yet stronger, whispered from his heart. Wait, look closer, see who he truly is. The human leader stopped to speak with one of his guards. His words were not harsh, but calm and steady. The guard smiled, nodded, and stood taller as if the leader's presence gave him strength. The father blinked, confused. He had been told this man was a ruthless monster, someone who killed without mercy. Yet before him stood not a monster, but a leader who gave hope. The father's mind trembled. For years, he had fought in battles where leaders hid behind walls and let soldiers die. Yet this man stood among his people, walking the same ground, breathing the same air. It was something rare, something he had not expected. Slowly, the father crept closer, silent as shadow. His tall frame melted into the night as he slipped past. The guard's every movement brought him nearer to the target. Every breath brought the choice closer to his hands. He told himself this was the moment he had trained for. Yet his heart was not steady. He remembered his son again. His little boy used to ask, "Father, why do we fight? Why can we not live in peace?" At the time, he had no answer, only orders, only battles. Now standing here, so close to his mission, he realized he still had no answer. The human leader entered a smaller hall. Only 2 guards remained outside. The father waited, then moved like the wind. His body slipped past the shadows, until he stood inside the hall. There he saw the man up close for the first time. The human leader was taller than he expected, but not as tall as him. His face was scarred from battles past, but his eyes carried wisdom. He was not laughing, not cruel. His gaze was heavy, like a man who carried the pain of many. The father lifted his weapon. His breath shook, his arm froze. The leader turned, their eyes met. In that single moment, time stopped. The alien father expected fear. He expected anger instead. He saw something else in the human's eyes, understanding. The leader's lips did not form words of panic. His voice was calm, low, almost gentle. If you have come to kill me, then do it quickly. The father's hand trembled. He had faced hundreds of enemies in battle and never felt weakness. But this was different. The human's voice carried no hatred, only truth. There was no begging, no mocking, only acceptance. Why? Do you not fight? The alien father asked. His voice harsh, but his soul weak. The leader stepped closer, slow and fearless. Because I have seen enough death, he said. If my death brings peace, then I will not resist. The words struck the father like a blade to his heart. His people told him this man was a monster, yet here he stood, ready to sacrifice himself for peace. How could this be? The father lowered his weapon slightly. His mind roared with questions. Do you not hate us? We destroyed your cities, we killed your soldiers, we brought fire to your world. The human's eyes darkened. He nodded slowly. I have lost many. I have buried friends and brothers. I carry their pain with me every day. He paused, his voice heavy. "But if I answer hate with more hate, then the chain never ends." The alien father's chest burned. His people's council would never accept such words. To them, only victory mattered, yet standing here, facing this man, he felt something change inside him. The human leader's strength was not in weapons, but in the courage to forgive. The silence grew heavy. The guards outside shifted, but did not enter. The alien father stood frozen, his weapon still in his hand, but his will fading. The leader did not raise a shield, did not call for help. He only waited, watching the assassin with steady eyes. At last, the father lowered his blade. The metal touched the ground. He could not strike. The leader nodded once, as if he had expected this. His words were simple. "Then you are not my enemy." The alien father's breath shook. No one had ever called him anything but an enemy, a soldier, or a weapon. Yet this man spoke as if he saw something more. For the first time in years, the father felt like he was more than a killer. The human leader stepped closer and placed a hand on his shoulder. The alien father tensed, expecting betrayal. Instead, the leader said softly, "You carry a heavy burden. I can see it in your eyes. Tell me, what is it you truly seek?" The father's voice broke as he whispered, "My son, I lost my son in this war. I have searched but never found him." His great body shook with the weight of those words. The leader's eyes softened. He did not speak for a long moment. Then he said, "Perhaps you were not sent here to kill me. Perhaps you were sent here to find something else." The father stared at him, his mission shattered, his heart breaking. The hall was silent. Yet, in that silence, a new path was opening. A path not of shadows and death, but of family, of hope. And so the encounter ended, not with a strike of death, but with the first spark of something greater. The alien father stood frozen in the hall, his weapon lowered, his heart racing like a storm inside his chest. The human leader's calm eyes still met his, unshaken, steady, fearless. The silence between them was heavy, filled with 1,000 unspoken words. The father had been trained for moments like this. Kill without hesitation, strike before doubt could grow. But this moment was different. It was no longer just a mission. It had become something deeper, a test of who he truly was. The human leader spoke again, his voice calm. "You had the chance to kill me, but you chose not to. That means something." The alien father's jaw tightened. He wanted to deny it, to claim it was strategy. Yet he could not lie to himself. He had seen something in the human's eyes. Not fear, not hatred, but understanding. That single look had broken the chain of violence that bound him. "Do you not fear me?" the father asked, his voice low and rough. The leader gave a small shake of his head. "Fear, yes, but not of death. I fear the war never ending. I fear children growing in a world where fathers never return home. That is the true fear I carry." The father's chest tightened. His thoughts went back to his own son, the boy he had lost. He had once promised him that the war would end. He had sworn they would find peace. But instead, he had lost him to the chaos. And now here stood a man, his enemy, speaking the same truth his son once whispered. The father dropped to one knee, not in weakness, but in confusion. He could no longer see his path. Should he return to his people as a failure? Or should he listen to the strange hope in the words of this human? The leader stepped closer, his voice soft but strong. "Tell me your name." "Warrior. For now, you are not my enemy." The father hesitated. For years, he had been nothing but a weapon, his name forgotten, buried under duty. But something inside him stirred. He whispered, "I am Kale." The leader nodded. Then Kale. "I am Marcus." For a brief moment, the hall no longer felt like a battlefield. It felt like two fathers, two warriors, standing face to face with their burdens laid bare. But outside, the world was not so quiet. The guards noticed the silence had stretched too long. Their voices carried through the doors. "Commander, is everything all right?" Marcus did not look away from Cale. He raised his hand to signal calm. "All is well," he answered firmly. The guards obeyed, stepping back, trusting his word. Cale felt the weight of that trust. He could have killed the human leader in that moment, but instead, Marcus had shielded him from suspicion. Why would an enemy do this? The father's mind raced. He was torn between two chains. On one side was duty to his people. The council's command on the other side was this new bond, this fragile thread of trust that had been offered. "Why do you show me mercy?" Cale asked, his voice trembling with anger and confusion. Marcus held his gaze, because mercy is the only way the killing ends. "If I kill you, more of your people will come. If you kill me, my soldiers will never stop hunting you. But if we choose another way, then perhaps our children will know peace." The words cut deeper than any blade. Cale had never been offered mercy before, never been seen as more than a soldier. The human leader was not just offering him life, he was offering him choice. For the first time in many years, Cale realized he had the power to decide his own path. He could go back to the council, claim victory, or lie about failure. But his heart told him that the truth of this moment was too strong to ignore. Cale stood again, his tall frame towering over Marcus. His voice shook, but carried strength. "If I return, my people will call me traitor. They will hunt me, kill me." Marcus nodded slowly. "Then perhaps you will need a new home. And perhaps I can give you one." The words struck Cale like thunder. A new home, a new family, was such a thing even possible? But before he could answer, shouts echoed from outside. A scout ran into the hall. "Commander, alien ships have been sighted at the edge of our skies." Marcus's eyes hardened. He turned to Cale. "Your people come. And they come for war." Cale's heart sank. His people would never forgive him for hesitating. They would see him as weak, as corrupted by the humans. They would bring destruction, and he would be forced to choose. The guards drew their weapons, waiting for orders. Marcus looked at them, then at Cale. His voice was calm, but firm. "You stand at the line. Cale, one step back, and you are my enemy. One step forward, and you are with me." The hall grew silent. Every soldier's eyes burned into Cale. His hands shook. His mind screamed. The shadow of duty pulled him back, but the light of choice pulled him forward. At last, Cale raised his head. His voice was strong. "I will not kill you. And I will not serve lies any longer." The choice was made, not in battle, but in a quiet hall. The assassin sent to kill had become something else, a man reborn in the moment of choice. Cale stood tall in the hall, his weapon lowered, his voice still echoing with the words of choice. Marcus watched him closely. His eyes steady, his face unreadable. Around them, the soldiers shifted nervously, their hands ready on their weapons. None of them trusted the towering alien who had nearly killed their leader, but Marcus raised his hand, a silent command for them to hold. "Stand down," he said firmly. His voice left no room for argument. The soldiers obeyed, though unease burned in their eyes. Cale could feel their hatred like fire on his skin. They looked at him as nothing more than an enemy, a killer, a monster, in truth. He had been all of those things, but now he stood empty, not sure who he was anymore. Marcus stepped closer. He looked up at the giant alien and spoke in a voice low enough that only Cale could hear. "You are not my enemy, Cale. You are a father. And I see it in your eyes." The words shook him. No one had spoken to him like that since he lost his son. His people saw him as a weapon. His enemies saw him as a monster. Yet here was this human leader, seeing him as something else. Cale's throat felt tight. His voice broke when he whispered, "My people told me to kill you." They said you were a beast who wanted to destroy us all. But I look at you, and I see a man who carries the same pain I do." Marcus nodded slowly, "Because pain is the one thing that unites us all." He said, "But Cale, we do not have to let pain rule us. We can choose another path." Cale frowned, his massive hands trembling. "What path? I have no people now. If I return to them, they will kill me. If I stay, your soldiers will never trust me." Marcus glanced at his men, then back at Cale. His voice grew firm. "Then you will stay with me. You will stand not as my enemy, but as my brother. My people will learn, just as you will learn. And maybe, just maybe, we can build something new." Cale's eyes widened. He had expected death. He had expected chains. But never this. Never family. Never a place where he could belong again. His heart ached as he thought of his son. He whispered softly, "You speak of family, but I have none. My boy was lost to this war, perhaps even dead." Marcus placed a hand on his arm, though the alien's armor was cold and hard. "Then let me say this," Marcus said, his voice deep with emotion. "If you have no son left, then I will be your son, and you will be my father. We will carry each other's burdens." Cale froze, his breath caught, his great body trembled. These words pierced through the iron walls of his soul. No one had ever spoken to him like this. No one had ever offered him such a gift. The soldiers around them shifted, confused, angry even. One of them finally shouted, "Commander, you cannot mean this. He is the enemy. He came to kill you. How can you call him family?" Marcus turned sharply, his eyes burning with fire. "Enough," he barked. "He came to kill me, yes, but he chose not to. He had the chance to end my life, and instead, he spared it. That makes him more honorable than many I have known." The hall fell silent. The soldiers lowered their eyes. Though they still carried doubt, they would not question Marcus. His word was law. Cale lowered his head, his chest heavy. He whispered, "Why? Why would you do this for me? I have given you nothing but threat." Marcus answered simply, "Because I have lost enough, I will not lose another chance at peace. I see in you the father who lost his son, and in me. You see the son who lost his father. Together, we can heal. Together, we can be family." Cale closed his eyes. A single memory of his boy's laughter filled his mind for the first time since losing him. Cale felt something like hope. It was faint. Fragile, but it was real. Outside, the sounds of war grew louder. The alien ships were coming. The ground shook with the rumble of engines. The soldiers rushed to prepare defenses, but Marcus stayed beside Cale. "Your people will attack," Marcus said. "They will call you traitor. They will hunt you, but you will stand with me. And I will stand with you." Cale opened his eyes. His voice rumbled deep. "If I stand with you, I stand against my people. They will never forgive me." Marcus placed his hand once more on Cale's arm. "Then let them hate you, for I will not. I offer you family. Cale, not in blood, but in choice." The words settled into Cale's heart like fire. A family not given by birth, but forged by will. He felt the weight of the offer, the danger, the risk, yet he also felt the strength in it. At last, Cale nodded slowly, his deep voice steady. "Then I accept. Marcus, from this day, I am yours, not as your killer, not as your enemy, but as your father." Marcus's eyes glistened. He clasped Cale's arm tightly, sealing the bond. "And I am your son," he said. The hall seemed to grow brighter, though outside the storm of war was coming. In that moment, amidst enemies and shadows, an alien father and a human leader created something stronger than war. A bond of family chosen in the ashes of conflict. The bond between Cale and Marcus was sealed in the quiet hall, but the world outside did not share their peace. Soldiers still watched Cale with suspicion. Their eyes burned with anger every time they looked at him. To them, he was still the assassin who had come to kill their leader. Cale could feel their hatred like blades cutting into him. He had been a warrior all his life, facing enemies with steel and fire. Yet this silent rejection from those around him hurt more than any wound. He wondered if he had made a mistake by accepting Marcus's offer that night as the human base prepared for battle. Cale walked alone among the shadows. The soldiers whispered as he passed, their voices sharp and cruel. "Traitor, monster, beast," they said under their breath. He pretended not to hear, but inside his chest, his heart twisted. In his own world, he was already a traitor if he returned. His people would kill him without question, and here, among the humans. He was not trusted either. He belonged nowhere, caught between two sides. Marcus found him standing outside, watching the sky. The stars burned bright above, and Cale's eyes followed them like a man lost in endless darkness. Marcus approached. Quietly, his voice soft. "You hear their words, don't you?" Cale did not look at him. "I hear them. They are right to hate me. I came to kill you. I would have spilled blood if not for hesitation. Do you expect them to forgive so easily, Marcus?" Shook his head. "No. Forgiveness is never easy. But change begins with one step. You took that step when you lowered your weapon. The rest will follow, though not without struggle." Cale's jaw tightened. His thoughts drifted to his son again. "When my boy was alive, he told me once that he wished for a world without hate. I laughed at him then. I told him war was the only truth. But now, standing here, I wonder if he was right all along." Marcus placed a hand on Cale's arm. "Children often see truths that warriors cannot. Maybe your son saw what we are only learning now." The words made Cale's chest ache. He closed his eyes, imagining his son's small hand reaching for his, but the vision faded, leaving only emptiness. At dawn, the alarm sounded. The alien ships had entered the skies. The human camp roared with movement, soldiers rushing, engines powering, weapons ready. Cale stood at the edge of the stronghold, his massive figure casting a long shadow over the ground. The soldiers eyed him with suspicion. Some even raised their rifles. But Marcus stopped them. "He stands with us," he declared, his voice strong. "If you trust me, then you will trust him." The men obeyed. But their faces showed doubt. Cale felt the weight of it. He was no stranger to distrust. But this time, it pierced him deeper. He was not sure if he was fighting for the right side or betraying both. When the alien fleet descended, Cale recognized the markings on the lead ship. It was his own clan's war banner. His blood turned cold. These were his brothers, his kin. The ones he had once sworn to fight beside, the human soldiers prepared to fire. Their weapons hummed with energy. Marcus stood tall, giving orders with calm precision. Cale's hands clenched at his sides. His soul tore apart. If he fought for the humans, he would spill the blood of his own people. If he refused, he would betray Marcus, the man who had called him family. Either way, he would destroy a part of himself. The first shots rang out in the sky. Fire burned across the horizon. Explosions shook the ground. The battle had begun. Cale roared, his deep voice echoing across the battlefield. He leaped forward, his strength tearing through alien warriors who descended. His people stared at him in shock, their eyes wide with rage. "Traitor," they screamed, "you stand with the enemy." Every strike of his blade cut deeper into his soul. He was not just killing warriors, he was killing brothers. He tried to push the thought away, but it came back with every scream, every face. Marcus fought beside him. His soldiers followed, rallying. Behind their leader's courage, together, they pushed back wave after wave. But Cale's heart sank lower with every life taken after hours of blood and fire. The battlefield grew quiet. The alien ships retreated, leaving smoke and ashes behind. The humans cheered in victory. But Kale did not cheer. He stood covered in blood, his eyes staring at the bodies of his fallen kin. That night, he sat alone by the fire. His massive hands shook as he cleaned his blade. Marcus joined him, sitting silently for a long time. Then he spoke. "You fought bravely today. Without you, many of us would not be alive." Kale did not look up. His voice was low, heavy with sorrow. "I killed my own people. Marcus, do you understand what that means? I am cursed. I am hated by both sides. I am no father, no warrior, only a ghost." Marcus placed a hand on his shoulder, his voice calm but firm. "No, Kale, you are not a ghost. You are the bridge, the only one who can see both sides. That makes you more than a warrior. That makes you the hope of something greater." Kale's eyes burned. He wanted to believe. He wanted to accept Marcus's words, but doubt still consumed him. The conflict within him raged louder than ever. As the fire crackled, Kale whispered, "I am no hero, Marcus. I am only a broken father searching for his son." Marcus's voice was steady. "Then let us search together, and if we cannot find him, then we will build a family that honors his memory." Kale stared into the flames, his heart torn but slowly mending. For the first time, he allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, there was a place for him in this world. The battle had ended, but peace did not follow. Smoke still curled into the sky, the ground stained with blood of both human and alien. Kale stood among the ruins, his body strong but his spirit weak. He had fought beside Marcus. He had defended the humans, yet he could not escape the sight of his fallen kin. The humans cheered their victory, but their eyes still cut into Kale like knives. They saw him as a tool, not as one of them. Some whispered he had only switched sides to save himself. Others claimed he would betray them the moment another alien army appeared. Kale felt the weight of their doubt heavier than any weapon. He had once been proud of his strength, but now strength meant nothing. He had become a man without a home. That night, Marcus called his men together. His voice rang with authority. "We live today because of Kale," he said firmly. "Without him, we would have fallen." The soldiers shifted uncomfortably. Some nodded, others glared. One finally spoke. "Commander, how can we trust him? He killed his own people today. Tomorrow he may kill us too." Marcus's eyes darkened. His voice grew sharp. "You trust him because I trust him. That is enough." The men fell silent, but their doubts did not vanish. Kale felt them in every look, every whisper, and every silence when he entered a room. Later, Marcus found him sitting alone near the edge of the camp. The stars stretched endlessly above them. Kale stared at them as if searching for something he had lost long ago. Marcus sat beside him quietly. After a long silence, he asked, "What do you see up there?" Kale's deep voice rumbled. "I see my people. I see my son. I see everything I have lost. And now I see myself standing against them. Marcus, tell me, how can a father live knowing he has killed his own blood?" Marcus sighed, his eyes soft. "A father lives by honoring what was lost, Kale, not by drowning in guilt. You fight not to destroy your people, but to protect what remains. That is the truth." Kale turned his head, his golden eyes burning. "But what remains for me? My people hate me. Your people fear me. Where do I belong?" Marcus placed a hand on his arm. "You belong here. With me. You are my father. I am your son." That bond is not broken by whispers. It is stronger than doubt. Kale's chest tightened. He wanted to believe, but the war was not finished. The next trial was already coming. The following day, scouts brought news. Another alien force was gathering nearby, but this one was different. It was not an army, it was Kale's own clan, led by his blood brother, Torak. When Cale heard the name, his heart froze. Torak had fought beside him since childhood. They had sworn oaths to protect each other, to stand together no matter the enemy. Now Torak was coming, and Cale stood on the opposite side. The humans prepared their defenses. Marcus gave orders with calm precision, but when he turned to Cale, his voice softened. "This fight will test you more than any battle before. Cale, you must choose where your loyalty lies that night." Cale could not sleep. Memories of Torak filled his mind. The brother who had saved his life a dozen times. The one who had helped him raise his son when his wife had died. Torak was more than blood, he was family. And now Cale would have to face him as an enemy. When dawn broke, the enemy appeared at the horizon. Cale saw him. Standing tall in the center of the alien ranks, Torak's eyes locked with his, filled with fury and betrayal. His voice roared across the battlefield. "Cale, you shame our blood. You fight with the enemy. You kill your own kin. Come back now, or I will end you with my own hands." The soldiers around Marcus looked at Cale, awaiting. If he hesitated, they would kill him themselves. Marcus stood firm, his voice steady. "The choice is yours, Cale. Stand with me, or stand with him. But no, this you cannot stand with both." The ground seemed to shake beneath Cale's feet. His heart pounded like war drums. The trial of loyalty had come. He stepped forward, his massive frame casting a long shadow. His voice thundered, "Torak, I do not fight for enemies. I fight for truth. Our people are lost in endless war. Blinded by hate, I will not return. I will not spill more blood for lies." Torak's eyes blazed with rage. "Then you are no brother of mine. You are nothing but a traitor." The alien warriors raised their weapons. The humans did the same. The battlefield trembled as both sides prepared to strike. Cale stood in the center, his soul burning. Marcus moved beside him, calm and steady. "No matter what comes, Cale, you are not alone." Cale looked down at Marcus, his chest heavy with grief and pride. "Then today, I fight not as a soldier of my people, not as a traitor, but as a father who chose a new son." The two armies clashed. Fire and steel filled the air. Torak charged toward Cale, their weapons colliding with the force of thunder. Brother against brother, loyalty against loyalty. The battle was not only for survival, but for Cale's soul. And in that storm, Cale understood this was the trial that would define him forever. Not the mission he had been given, not the orders of the council, but this choice where his loyalty truly belonged. The battlefield burned with fire and smoke. Human and alien clashed in waves of steel and fury. But at the center of it all, two giants fought a war between brothers, Cale and Torak. Their weapons rang out like thunder, sparks flying with every strike. Torak's face twisted with rage. His voice roared over the chaos. "You were my blood, Cale, my brother. How dare you fight against me? How dare you fight for them?" Cale's heart shook with every word. His arms trembled with every blow. "I fight not for them, Torak. I fight for truth. I fight for peace. I fight for the son I lost." Torak snarled, his blades slashing with fury. "Peace is weakness. You were once the strongest of us, and now you are nothing but a traitor clinging to ghosts." The clash grew brutal. Cale's armor cracked, blood spilling from deep wounds. Torak fought like a storm, fueled by rage and betrayal. Yet Cale did not strike with hatred. His every move carried sorrow. He was not only fighting Torak, he was fighting the endless war that chained their people. Marcus stood nearby, leading his men. His voice carried above the battle. "Hold the line. Do not falter." His eyes never left Cale, fear tightening his chest. He knew this was not just a duel. It was a choice that would decide the fate of two worlds. Kale's blade struck hard, knocking Torak back. For a moment, their eyes locked. Kale saw not an enemy, but the brother who had once laughed beside him, who had once helped him raise his boy. His voice broke. "Torak, it does not have to end. Like this, lay down your blade. We can build something new." But Torak's eyes burned with hatred. His roar shook the battlefield. "Never! You are dead to me, Kale!" He lunged forward, blade aimed at Kale's heart. The strike was fast, deadly, but Kale turned at the last moment. The blade sliced across his chest, pain flooding through him. Still, he did not fall. With a roar of sorrow, Kale disarmed Torak, his weapon striking the ground. He held his own blade above his brother. His arms shook, his heart screamed. This was the moment, the final choice. Torak spat, his voice filled with venom. "Do it. End me." "Traitor!" Kale froze. His mind burned with images of his lost son, his people, Marcus's words, and the promise of a different future. His blade trembled above his brother's chest, but then he dropped it. The weapon clattered to the ground. His deep voice thundered across the battlefield. "No more. I will not kill my brother. I will not let this war consume what remains of me." The battlefield paused. Soldiers from both sides froze in disbelief. A warrior refusing to kill was unheard of. Torak stared up at him in shock. Fury twisting into something else, confusion. Marcus stepped forward, his voice carrying strength. "This is the truth of Kale. He was sent to kill me, but instead, he chose family, he chose peace, and if he, a warrior of your blood, can change, then so can we all." The humans stood tall, rallying behind Marcus. The alien soldiers hesitated, looking at Torak, looking at Kale. Doubt spread among them. Their weapons lowered slowly. The fire of hatred in their eyes began to fade. Torak's chest heaved. His pride was broken, his anger drained. He whispered, "You shame us, Kale, but perhaps you are stronger than us all." He turned away, signaling retreat. The alien soldiers followed, leaving the battlefield silent but scarred. Kale fell to his knees, his body broken, blood dripping onto the earth. Marcus rushed to his side, holding his arm, his voice urgent. "Stay with me, Father. You are not leaving me now." Kale's deep eyes softened, his voice weak but steady. "I could not save my son, Marcus, but I saved you, and in you I found him again." Tears burned Marcus's eyes. "You are not just my protector, Kale. You are my family." The soldiers watched in silence, their doubts slowly fading as they saw the bond between the alien warrior and their leader. In that moment, Kale was no longer an enemy, no longer a traitor. He was something greater, a father who had chosen love over hate. In the days that followed, the war slowed. Both sides spoke of the battle where Kale spared his brother. Some called him weak, others called him cursed. But among the humans, and even some aliens, he became a symbol. A warrior who chose mercy instead of blood. A father who chose family. Over war, Kale healed slowly, his body scarred. But his spirit lighter than it had been in years. He would never see his son again. But he found purpose in Marcus, guiding him, protecting him, teaching him the strength of compassion. One night, as they stood together under the stars, Marcus asked softly, "Do you ever regret it, not killing him?" Kale looked up, the stars reflecting in his golden eyes. "No, because if I had killed him, I would have lost myself forever. But by sparing him, I found who I truly am." Marcus smiled. "Then your son would be proud." Kale's voice rumbled with quiet strength. "No, Marcus, he would be proud of us both." And so, the assassin who had been sent to kill a human leader became something greater. Not a weapon, not a monster, but a father with a new legacy. A legacy not written in blood, but in the choice to love where others chose hate.